Morning, Rosalinda. Why don't we get started? Good morning, everyone. Happy Sunday. I'm the Gray Strega, and I'm here to give you your daily collective read for today, Sunday, July 9th, 2023. What do we have coming through in the cards for today? May I please have the first 5 cards in our 5-card spread? First 2 cards we are starting our day off with today. Oh boy. So we've got here. Yeah, it's going to be one of those readings, my friends. It's going to be one of those readings. We've got here the World card in its reversal in combination with our Wheel of Fortune. These are 2 heavy-hitting cards. So what we're really seeing is those blockages coming to the surface today. This is feeling potentially like some karmic blockage that you're experiencing right now. Some setbacks or adversities or hurdles that you are really trying to navigate and investigate to come into a better sense of balance. So while we are identifying this right now, we like to see this because this is helping you to articulate and see what those blockages are as we move through today. May I please have the second card in our 5-card spread? Second card coming through for us today is... All right, we like this as well. We've got here our 7 of Wands in its reversal. So this is coming through right now as some feelings of exhaustion rising to the surface, because what we're really identifying here is this is that moment of trying to get unstuck around some situations or circumstances. This could be looking at a lot of the conflict that we've been seeing over the past few days, either these internal or external conflicts that you're currently experiencing at this moment. And there is this moment of adjustment that you're potentially reaching right now, identifying situations or circumstances that you feel are becoming too difficult, that you're feeling the sense of exhaustion on right now, trying to move through these places and spaces with a sense of greater ease so that it does not necessarily feel that you have to kind of push back as much. That is that necessary moment right now of trying to come into that deeper point of flow state, being able to come into a point of ease, trying to identify how to find that point of ease for yourself at this time and for the energy around you. And that is where you're getting this moment of assessment as to where you want to move forward from this point. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Center card for our 5-card spread is... We've got here our 9 of Wands coming through upright. So again, this is coming through right now as some feelings of insecurity rising to the surface today. We are seeing here that there are some points of exhaustion you may potentially be feeling right now around some situations or circumstances that are requiring you to push forward. We've been seeing this in the deck very frequently over the last few days, specifically in these areas of conflict, around partnership, around those areas that need some point of adjustment at this time. And this is causing a moment right now that is creating a point of internal focus, a lot of going inwards today, and also in a moment of healing. We saw this identified as well with that Ace of Cups that we received just the other day. There is a moment right now for self-care for all energies. And this is that moment of taking that care of the self, nurturing those parts of yourself that may be experiencing some setbacks or hurdles or adversities right now, all for the sake of realignment and readjustment so that you can move forward from this point with that clarity and that deeper sense of ease. The next card we have coming through right now in our 5-card spread is... We have here our 7 of Pentacles in its reversal. So what we are also identifying here is this is that moment of looking around circumstances and situations that you've been putting a lot of time and energy on. What we're also identifying right now here is there is this point of looking at whether you're seeing the progress that you're hoping to achieve and maintain as you move through these situations and circumstances. There is this point where you are assessing the time and the consideration you've put into something versus what you are getting back at this point. Because what we are observing here specifically with our Wheel of Fortune and the world in its reversal is you are feeling some of this blockage today. You are feeling some of that anxiety or frustration as it relates to some situations and circumstances that you've been putting this care and effort to a large degree in right now. It is causing a moment of feeling like you wanted to find that point of ease. You want to find that point of easement to be able to move through these with an easier sense of balance going forward. It is pulling back today. We're seeing that pullback that's occurring right now, that moment of nurturing of the self, and also some feelings of exhaustion that may be rising to the surface about where you are putting your energy right now and whether you are seeing the results of those actions, or if you want to potentially potentially navigate or adjust your own settings so that you can get that immediate point of success, that immediate point of confirmation, because that is what we're really identifying here. This is a lot of that personal assessment blockage that we've been seeing, that something about these external conflicts that you've been navigating right now are leading you to this deeper investigation of your own self and your own path at this moment. Final card for the first 5 before we start to get clarification on these cards right now is the Fool in its reversal. This is that recalibration point that we want to see with the navigation of the Wheel of Fortune in its reversal and the World card in its reversal. Because what this is really identifying is the outcome of this work that you're doing today is allowing you to move forward with a new, identified, renewed sense of purpose. This is still requiring a bit of that leap of faith energy that we identified just a few days ago. However, this is requiring a point of intentionality and clarity, utilizing the lessons that you have experienced thus far to guide your path forward in new directions, but with the insight and the clarity that you are getting from these circumstances or situations that have caused you any degree of difficulty or trauma or pain. Now let's start to get some clarification on these cards today. Clarification right now between these huge cards, our World in its reversal in combination with the Wheel of Fortune in its reversal, in combination with our 7 of Wands in its reversal. This is that point of orientation of coming into a sense of deeper ease, trying to find and articulate for yourself the path that will allow you to move forward with that sense of easement without feeling like it is such a difficult pushback. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with the 9 of Swords. We've got double 9 energy out today. This is that moment of really going through some points of experiencing some of this heartache, experiencing some of this trauma. We are seeing here that with some of the conflicts that you have been experiencing over the last few days, be they internal or be they external, they have put you in a space where you are having to face your own doubts, your own anxieties, your own fears at this moment. And that is why we see that there is a lot of self-assessment coming through today in that recalibration point, wanting to find that point of easement around any circumstances or situations that you have been experiencing setbacks in. This is feeling like a lot of heavy energy today because it is requiring you to really focus on some of those doubts and fears at this time, but all to the purpose of assessing and analyzing what you feel is going to be in best alignment for you at this time versus those places or spaces that you feel like you are encountering too many setbacks, all for the highest purpose of allowing this readjustment point, allowing that realignment point so that you can move forward from a point of deeper ease today. But this is requiring a lot of these doubts and anxieties and fears to come through today so that you can navigate them effectively in a more positive manner going forward at this time. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our 7 of Wands in its reversal and the 9 of Wands in its upright. So a lot of feelings, potential insecurities rising to the surface today. You will recall, I mentioned yesterday, there was a lot of care to be spent in terms of what was being communicated, how it was being communicated. And we see here that this is, and even for your own self and towards your own self at this time, we are seeing here that there is a bit of nurturing and care that is required into the self right now as you heal from some of these traumas, from of these circumstances, from of these situations, some of these setbacks. And this point of not wanting to feel like you need to push so hard against the things that you are identifying are truly for you at this moment. But it is requiring a point of regression right now as you go into this level and degree of care of the self. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with 10 of Wands in its upright. So this is that point that we are identifying that is so exceptional and so important right now. Look at all this wand energy that we are identifying. A lot of things around thoughts, communication, planning, progress right now. This is that point of recalibration that we are seeing today, because what we're really identifying is this is not from a lack of effort. What we are seeing here is, for you personally right now, this is a moment that you are recognizing your own conviction, your own degree in terms of what it is that you truly want to move forward at this time with. This is not necessarily pointing out the fact that you are not willing to accept some level or degree of burden, that you're not willing to accept some degree of difficulty as you traverse forward on this path for yourself at this moment, but you want to make sure that you're not feeling any kind of conflict or setback or pushback. This is that point of analysis, like really putting that deep focus into what is helping to help move you forward, carrying these burdens as you continue forward on this path, versus the places and spaces that you fear are just causing points of adversity or too many hurdles to allow you to effectively move forward in this fashion. This is that day of recalibration as you analyze and expect and anticipate what is going to allow this easement so that you can continue to do the work that you're trying to do in all areas of your life right now in the most effective way. Committing, it's almost a recommitment moment that we're seeing here towards the path that you're setting for yourself at this time. But in a way, this is a moment of putting that burden down for a moment to really give this point of asking yourself, is this showing the ability to have progress? Are you seeing that progress so that you can continue to move into that state of completion? Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our 9 of Wands in its upright in combination with the 7 of Pentacles. This is that need right now to see that forward progress in any way, shape, or form, particularly around circumstances and situations that you've been putting a considerable amount of time and effort and energy in right now. This is that moment of feeling or experiencing some of the anxiety to a degree of setbacks in terms of not necessarily seeing the progress that you would ideally identify or were hoping to achieve at this moment, that is causing some of these feelings of injury, that are causing some of this need for self-care and for helping to heal some of these wounds, because it's creating a sense of anxiety for you at this moment in terms of whether the things that you've been putting your time and effort and energy in are going to pay off to the degree and to the capacity that you're ideally hoping for at this moment. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with 2 of Swords in its reversal. This is that moment. We've been seeing this 2 of Swords cards coming through in the spreads over the last few days. This is that moment of action. This is that moment of not wanting to sit and analyze situations or observe. There's a feeling right now that you have seen all that you need to see around some circumstances or situations. You are feeling a lot of that frustration today. You're feeling a lot of that weight. This is that moment of trying to take that action, allow that activity to occur, but ideally based not just on a moment of swiftness, not just on a moment of reactivity, but really due to the fact that you are spending this degree or moment right now analyzing what is making you feel that you are feeling injured. What are you not seeing that progress on? What have you felt like you've put this considerable time and effort and energy into right now? These are the motivating factors right now for you to take action today in those directions, either moving with more focus to those paths that you are putting and committing your energy into right now, versus the ones that you feel are just causing too much pushback for you at this moment. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our 7 of Pentacles in its reversal in combination with our Fool card in its reversal. So again, a moment right now of recalibration, a moment of new energy moving forward. This is some of that Death card in its reversal that we received over the last few days, pushing forward, allowing this transformation to occur, allowing this to be a moment that you are setting off on a new journey, but also utilizing the intelligence, the experience, the recognition of what you feel you are no longer willing to wait upon at this moment. You are letting that sense of understanding lead you forward right now into driven action, utilizing those lessons as you begin these new journeys for yourself at this time. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now. Transverse. There's that Ace of Cups energy that we've been seeing, and it is now in its transverse. So again, we identified just the other day a need for self-care, that there is this moment. What we really appreciate about this is even with some of the external conflicts that you may be experiencing at this time, whether these conflicts that you've been working through over this week have been internal or external, the most important factor right now is this care and attention right now on what care of the self feels like, of what support of the self feels like at this moment. There is some feeling right now of having to put some attention back into yourself in terms of what is going to feel right and best for you at this time. There's a moment right now of analyzing and really looking at those situations and circumstances that have been causing you too much grief, that have been causing you too much heartache, that are building too much anxiety at this time. This is that moment that is requiring a regression to a certain place as you heal from some of these wounds. Be they like these internal emotional wounds that you've been experiencing from some of those anxieties rising to the surface at this time. And the true conviction point is allowing this degree of self-care to become evident today. That not only are you moving forward right now on this path, but the identifying question that you're asking yourself as you move forward at this time is what is best for your own person. Recognizing that that care of the self is key for you to be able to continue to move forward to the degree and capacity that you are hoping to achieve at this time. Continuing to get, but there, I will point out, and this is very important here, there is some anxiety and doubts and fears on what that level of care and degree is at this time. Some of this energy that we're seeing about pulling back inwards at this moment is to try to assess what this feels like for you right now. There's some feelings right now, especially with this being in its transports, that you might not necessarily feel like you can truly articulate what it is going to feel best for you at this time. This is exactly why we see that this moment is so important, because that is what's allowing this care and attention right now to your own karmic cycle to come to the surface. Recognizing these points of imbalance, seeing the blockage, and utilizing them as a point of orientation to go deeper into your own care of the self and what that truly feels like for you at this moment. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our 9 of Swords in combination with our 10 of Wands. This is feeling like very heavy energy at this moment because, again, this moment we are identifying there's a lot of feeling of completion here, of having to make some progress, of having to bear a lot of weight as you move forward in the completion of cycles right now. But it's also at the same time recognizing a lot of the emotional hurdles that you've been carrying, a lot of the emotional weight that you've been experiencing right now. This is the burden that you have been holding and carrying right now, that you are identifying that you want to come into a state of easement on. Are you capable of carrying forward versus what difficulties or anxieties or fears or situations are creating too much weight for you to bear, and that is requiring that point of potential readjustment right now. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now. This is our card of the day, but in its reversal. So again, for the masculine energy, we identified that there was a lot of difficulty and adversity as it relates to the masculine energy and being able to maintain and express their own emotionality at this moment. This is where we see some of that anxiety and doubt and fear coming into place right now. This will feel different depending on whether you align to feminine or masculine energy right now, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what you feel most aligned to. For masculine energy right now, there's something that is being identified about the fact that when you are experiencing these hurdles, when you're experiencing these doubts and fears, when you're being forced to bear them to a certain degree, it is affecting your own level of confidence or your own degree to move forward in the capacity that you would ideally desire at this point. This is leading to some feelings right now for the masculine energy of questioning the path that you are on, looking at them to a certain degree and asking yourself if you have the confidence to move forward in some direction and capacity right now, or if situations or circumstances are causing too many griefs and anxieties and fears to allow you to effectively push through at this time. Masculine energy is moving through a lot of these on an internal level right now that's requiring them to experience a lot of these difficulties and setbacks and hurdles and challenges, and it is having some overall impact on your own sense of confidence in terms of what you're moving towards right now at this point. While for feminine energy right now, This is a moment of really looking towards the masculine energy at this time and identifying that potentially some of these anxieties, some of these fears, some of these hurdles that you are experiencing at this time could be around your own anxieties on the degree of confidence towards the masculine energy being able to move toward with you in this capacity and degree. For feminine energy right now, this is either working in union with the masculine energy as you yourself experience some setbacks, some hurdles, some challenges, but also recognizing that they are having an overall impact in masculine energy's own degree of confidence at this moment as well. Being able to allow this to be a recalibration point to help you guys find those easement points as you proceed forward on the path. While for the other half of the feminine collective right now, this could be experiencing a lot of this weight that you're carrying due to a masculine energy that you feel isn't coming towards you to the degree that you would ideally desire at this point. This is feeling some of that energy withdrawing to a certain extent, potentially due to their own lack of confidence in some areas. And this is creating a sense right now of anxiety and doubt and fear for you at this time as well, that is requiring you to again have to bear a lot of that burden on your own at this time. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. The next cards we are seeing clarification on between our 10 of Wands in its upright in combination with our 2 of Swords in its reversal. So this is that moment of taking action, particularly around some situations or circumstances that you are identifying are very difficult to bear. That there is a feeling right now of wanting to come into a state of completion around some situations or circumstances that you've been putting a lot of effort, that you've been putting a lot of energy in. This is the day that you've really been looking for the results of those actions. You're looking to see if there has been progress so that you can allow that sense of progress to drive your actions today moving forward. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with reciprocity, with our 6 of Pentacles coming here. Now this is that articulation point. This is that point of clarity that both energies are looking to receive at this time. This is identifying this fact that there are some cycles right now, that there are some places right now that you are willing to put the care, the energy, the effort. You are willing to overcome the challenges. You are willing to put that level and degree of work in right now, so long as you are seeing that reciprocity, that equal give and take, something that feels equally distributed as it relates to what you are putting forth into it right now versus what you are receiving back. It is this observation point that is moving and guiding your actions at this moment. And again, it is requiring some moment of experiencing or encountering some pain, some difficulty, some anxiety and traumas, potentially around situations and circumstances that you do not feel are providing this. This is that point of clarification of weighing right now between what is in your life right now that is truly giving back to you to the degree and capacity that you are putting forth into it versus those places and spaces that you feel you are not seeing that growth, you're not seeing that viability, you're not seeing that ability of reciprocity that may allow you to take action at this time as well. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our 2 of Swords in its reversal in combination with our Ace of Cups in its transverse. So this is also that motivating factor that we're seeing at this time, because something about this work that you're doing right now, particularly in the realms of having to bear and deal with some of this grief that you're encountering at this moment, but also looking at with a lot of clarity right now on those places and spaces that you feel are giving back to you in kind, and really asking yourself what it is that you need back from those places and spaces in kind at this moment. What feels like it is supportive to you? What feels like it is giving forth? Versus, and this could even be identifying that this is requiring a moment of having to go inwards in really asking yourself, what does good for you feel like? What does supportive for you feel like? This is causing some sense of confusion right now. Some of this hurdle that you're carrying right now, because it's requiring this sense of self-assessment, even as you allow yourself to take that information, to allow those actions to be performed today, based on what you've identified from this point that you're still potentially a little unsure of. You're working to identify it for yourself at this time. May I please get one card to clarify? Clarification coming through. Here's it is again, that death card in its transverse. There is a feeling right now of some transformation cycle that you're currently in, but you are feeling some kind of blockage as it relates to the transformation cycle coming to a point of completion. This is that moment of really assessing right now what is necessarily what you want to move away from right now versus what you are feeling is being transformed. This is going to either feel to a certain or a point of transformation. There may be feeling some uncertainty as to what that is at this time, but that's also requiring this capacity and degree of having to identify this for yourself at this moment. Asking yourself what you truly need at this time to allow for some of these shifts to occur, to allow for some of these actions to take place so that you can move through some of this blockage that you are experiencing. Because what we're really identifying at this time is a lot of these anxieties and doubts and fears are coming into play for the point and purpose of deeper observation on what is best for the self at this moment to help overcome and clear some of these spaces and places that you are feeling some of this stuck energy within. Continuing to get clarification on these points right now between our Knight of Swords in its reversal in combination with our Six of Pentacles. So for masculine and feminine, this will feel a bit different, bearing in mind that this is not based on gender, but what you feel most aligned to. For feminine energy right now, this is putting a lot of care and degree and capacity in terms of what you are getting back, looking and putting a lot of care and attention into that state of reciprocity, what you are having to give forth at this time versus what you are receiving back. And it is requiring, again, a degree of experiencing some circumstances and situations around masculine energy, either in union with masculine energy right now, recognizing this lack of confidence, trying to put forth to aid this energy in also recognizing what you need at this time to create something that feels even in balance for you going forward. While for the other half of the feminine collective right now, this is potentially putting a lot of care and degree and intention towards a masculine energy that you feel has been pulling back or is showing that lack of confidence at this moment. And you are asking yourself if this energy is showing some capacity or degree of being able to provide this point of reciprocity for you at this time. While for masculine energy right now, this is a moment that you yourself are experiencing some of this point of anxiety, some of these challenges rising right now, some of these points of anxiety and doubt and fear rising to the surface that are affecting your own sense of confidence at this moment. But we do see here, particularly with the fact that this card was in its upright for our card of the day, that this is that back and forth energy that we're seeing for the masculine right now. There's something in the masculine energy right now that is bringing a lot of doubts and fears to the surface, and it is requiring the masculine energy to go back and forth in terms of their own sense of confidence in what they're trying to pursue at this time. And masculine energy is also doing a lot of work right now in truly assessing what feels equal, what feels reciprocal, what feels like it is giving back what you are putting in at this time to help leverage and gain back your own confidence at a moment that your confidence is flagging because of some of those anxieties and fears that you've been holding and having to bear. May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with a lot of rest energy is what we're really seeing right now, especially with our Four of Swords. There is this need for rest right now for both masculine and feminine energy right now. There is this like moment of, again, we are seeing this very heavily. There's a point of really having to put some care and attention into the self at this moment, because for both masculine and feminine energy right now, whatever the circumstances and situations that you're experiencing it is requiring a moment of feeling some weight or burden that you are effectively having to work through right now. This is that moment of really looking at those burdens and asking yourself, are these creating supportive energies? Am I moving into places and spaces that feel supportive at this time? Or are they creating too much doubt? Are they creating too much grief? This is a point of really putting this nurturing and caring of the self into play today. And it is going to come through with some sensations or feelings of rest, of allowing some degree of rest or requiring some degree of rest. For those energies that have been experiencing any point of conflict right now, this is working to have some sort of rest towards those conflict points. For union energy right now, this is giving back and allowing what each energy needs at this time in order to be able to allow this care of the self to come to the surface. For masculine energy right now, this is a moment that is going to feel like it is expressing itself with some of these anxieties and fears, robbing you of your own sense of confidence at this time. For those that are in partnership right now, you are getting that reciprocity. You are getting that sense and level of care that's allowing some of that burden to be eased or put down for a portion of time, that is helping you come back into your own sense of confidence. While for the masculine energy that is not necessarily in union right now, this is a moment of having to analyze and really look at what you feel confident moving towards right now versus what you are just feeling too many doubts and fears to experience. That is that moment of looking for this reciprocity and giving yourself some period or portion of rest to be able to come into a state of having that intentionality. And what we're actually seeing for the masculine that's interesting today is this is going to feel like a bit more of a push-pull in you internally right now. That desire to push forward, but also that desire to retreat. This is some of that energy that's creating some of the conflict point that is requiring this assessment in terms of where things are going and what feels balanced for you at this time. While for feminine energy, what we're really identifying right now is, again, similarly, you are feeling and experiencing some situations or circumstances that are requiring you to have some ability and degree to have a point of easement, to have a point of rest. You are either working right now with a masculine energy that is, again, experiencing their own feelings that are aligning to you at this moment, that is articulating itself in some of that degree of a lack of confidence at this moment, but you are getting that equal give and take that is allowing some of this rest to occur. While for the feminine energy that is not necessarily in union at this time, this is putting a lot of care and attention towards the energy that's moving towards you at this time and experiencing and asking yourself, are they moving towards their own purposes, or are they allowing a point of reciprocity? Are they coming forward in a way that they recognize what you need at this time? And that is that you need some point of rest on some situations and circumstances, and really asking, are these energies providing that at this time, or are they the cause of why you need the rest? And that is that moment that is going to be very critical right now, because that for the feminine energy is really asking right now what they are going to continue to want to put forth towards right now versus what they might just need to move away from right now because it is causing too much anxiety, too much fear, too much grief. It is allowing this point of exhaustion around some circumstances and situations, or it is allowing the feminine energy to give forth right now. And it all depends on how that masculine energy is approaching them at this time. Feminine energy is putting a lot of care and attention in the intentionality and the purposes of the masculine energy coming forward right now, and really asking whether they are seeing that masculine energy is paying as much primary attention to their own care of the self right now versus what is in best interest of the energy's own purposes. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now between our Six of Pentacles in combination with our Death card in its reversal. So this is overcoming some of this blockage that we are seeing right now, because what we are really identifying at this moment is this point of looking at where some of this blockage is coming through right now. It is looking at these places and spaces that you are not necessarily seeing the transformation that you would ideally desire at this point. And again, this is that point of observation about whether those circumstances or situations are giving forth to you in terms of what you are giving into them at this time, or if they are the source of the blockage because they are not becoming reciprocal spaces and places that are allowing for that transformation to occur. May I please have one card to clarify? Whoop! That's way too many cards. We're going to take the top card. We've got here our Eight of Swords in its reversal. This is that breaking through of the situation and circumstance. This is that moment of allowing the transformation process to come to a point of completion. Because what we're really seeing right now is there is a moment that is coming through about coming and breaking out of anything that is feeling like it is effectively holding you back. Thank you for the gift. It is this moment of really identifying what you feel is kind of holding or limiting you from being able to move forward to the capacity and degree that you would desire right now, particularly in the realm of care of the self. This is where this journey is becoming very internal today, because it's really requiring you to look within at this time time for both masculine and feminine energy. And really ask yourself at this time, where are those places and spaces that you feel you are getting that reciprocity? Not only because you are experiencing some difficulties or challenges right now, but you yourself are in this journey right now to be able to find that point of breaking through your own self-limiting beliefs, breaking through those things that you are feeling internally that you feel are limiting or blocking you at this moment. And for that, it is a combination effort that we see, because it is also showing that you are putting a huge amount of care and attention into what you are putting forth right now versus what you are getting back, in order to recognize where these blockages are occurring, to help you break through your own limitations. That's going to help support you as you continue to do this work for yourself at this time. Masculine and energy are putting a lot of this internal effort in today, and a lot of this is requiring a journey inwards at this moment to break through of anything you feel is constraining you on a personal level from being able to attain this transformation for yourself at this moment. Continuing to get clarification on these cards right now. Look at these cards, final cards for today's spread, between our Four of Swords in combination with our Eight of Swords in its reversal. What we are really identifying is for both masculine and feminine energy today, there is this need for rest. There is this call for rest that is coming through right now. But all for the attempt, all for the belief of breaking through any of this difficulty or burden that you are experiencing at this time, to allow yourself to be able to break through your own limiting beliefs, to be able to move with greater easement, particularly in the realms of care of the self. What is feeling best for you at this moment, and what is going to allow you to put down some of these griefs or anxieties or fears that you have been carrying forward from this point? May I please have one card to clarify? Clarification coming through right now with Strength card in its reversal. So again, we've been seeing this card coming through a lot right now. And what we're really identifying right now is this is a moment that a lot of vulnerability is coming to the surface for both masculine and feminine energy. Bearing in mind, this is not based on gender, but what you feel most aligned to. A lot of this work that we've been seeing over the last few days has been requiring a lot of conflicts to be addressed, internal and external conflicts. This today is a lot of orientation, and it feels like very heavy energy because we're seeing here that there is this need to be able to move away from some of that point of conflict, be that internal conflict or that external conflict. For the masculine and feminine energy that's working in union right now, this is a point of orientation in really looking at not only what is best for you, but what is best for the energy that you are working with at this time. What does that sense of care look like? And one of the things that needs to be identified at this time that could be potentially feeling very emotionally vulnerable is you may be experiencing that there may be a need right now for the energy that you are associating with to require something that is a level of care that is different from what you yourself personally need at this moment. For the masculine and feminine energy that is working in union right now, there's going to be a lot of attention on what the other energy needs at this time because both energies are feeling very vulnerable. Now, for the masculine and feminine energy that is not in union right now, this is similarly creating a deep sense of vulnerability at this time, and it is requiring you to feel like that need of pulling back, going inwards. This is the opposite of the energy that we saw yesterday in terms of that going forward. There is this point that we saw there was a lot of hurdles that were being pushed forward over the last few days, pushing through points of adversity. For feminine energy, that has been a lot of emotional pushing, really pushing and opening up your own heart space at this time. But that has been a deeply emotionally vulnerable act to do in the process. It is requiring almost a period of rest at this time in terms of all of the energy that you've been giving forth in the heart space. While for masculine, we've been seeing that this has been you trying to move through any communication hurdles, any communication blockages as it relates to your own emotional investment right now versus what you you feel capable or able to communicate. For both masculine and feminine energy right now, this is feeling like a very, very, very open space. It's almost like an open wound right now that is being addressed, because a lot of those doubts and those fears are rising to the surface. For masculine energy, we're seeing right now that this is creating a point of anxiety in terms of what you want to rush forward towards right now versus what you're still feeling that lack of confidence on. While for feminine, this is also feeling like you are feeling some anxiety points as it relates to the intentionality and purpose of the masculine energy that is moving towards you right now. Potentially even feeling and recognizing them pulling away to a certain extent that is also shaking your own faith in terms of what you've been emotionally expressing. For both energies right now, the overriding message is recognize that everyone is in a vulnerable place. And I always like to point out that the strength card in its reversal does not mean a lack of strength. It means a different sense of strength. It means a strength that is the most difficult sense of strength, because it is not moving into a space or place from which you have a lot of confidence. It's very easy to be brave when you know that you are feeling in a point of confidence, when you know that your success is imminent. For both masculine and feminine, what we're seeing right now is you are moving into places and spaces where there are uncertainties, there are fears, there are new approaches being taken, and it is requiring a sense of strength through a moment of deep vulnerability, but an even stronger degree of strength just for that very reason. Bottom of the deck for our reading today is Page of Pentacles. For both masculine and feminine energy right now, there is a lot of care and degree in looking at the practicality of circumstances and situations, of really asking yourself what you can actually expect from the energy around you right now. What is going to be tangibly available versus what you are continually experiencing potentially from an emotional level right now. This is that moment that we see for a lot of energies. There is a point of exhaustion in terms of what you've been giving into something versus what you are receiving. And what we're really identifying right now is there's an overabundance of attention right now into the practical spaces, into being able to see that expression of emotionality in tangible forms. This could be something that is feeling very difficult to articulate and receive right now. But that is exactly the moment that we see is requiring some of this healing to occur, because some of this is feeling like a lack of ability to provide something at this time, but also making sure that that's not being recognized as a space or place of withholding. That is that point of analysis that's occurring right now that is so important, that is also feeling so triggering. That is our daily collective read for today. I want to thank you guys so much for being here and experiencing it. Just a reminder, if you would like to book a private reading with me, you can book one on my website, graystrega.com. My private readings are done over video with the option of recording sent to you afterwards. And if you are a subscriber to my TikTok, you can take 10% off any of my services when you pay. Just mention your subscriber ID at the point of payment. I'd also like to remind you that booking a reading on my website is a two-step process. You have to book the reading and you have to pay for the reading. Please make sure you hit both buttons if you'd like to have that reading. Most importantly, I want to remind you that I will never, ever, 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 ever reach out to you for a reading. I will never DM you. I will never PM you. I will never slide into your DMs and ask you to inbox me or tell you I have a very special message. The only way you can book a reading with me is if you book one on my website. So I encourage you to do it there. I want to thank you so much for sharing this reading with me today, and we will do this again tomorrow.